No human had ever dared step into the chamber of mirrors, and Kael had barely survived the warnings. Turn back, every soldier had said, before she notices you. He hadn't. Because Kael didn't care about warnings, he cared about truths, inconvenient, dangerous truths. The moment he crossed the threshold, the floor seemed to sigh under his boots, as if the hall itself judged him for daring entry. Light fractured around crystal pillars that stretched taller than any skyscraper he had ever seen, bending and warping like reality had decided to take a coffee break. Streams of golden liquid ran along the walls, humming faintly, and for a second Kael swore one of them winked at him. He shook his head. Definitely not winking. Probably. 24 faceless sentinels turned toward him in perfect unison, chrome armor gleaming, spears humming with energy that made his teeth vibrate ever so slightly. Kael swallowed. Okay, maybe this is a bit theatrical, he muttered under his breath. The voice didn't answer. Obviously. Then the air thickened. The world seemed to pause. And that voice, silken, sharp, and layered with authority, cut through him. Approach. It was one word, and Kael felt his spine straighten automatically, like a dog trained to sit. At the far end, beyond a curtain of shifting light, Queen Zenya awaited. She sat on a throne that looked like molten gold shaped into wings, each feather etched with alien runes pulsing in time with her heartbeat. Her hair glowed faintly like a halo, braided so intricately it seemed to have taken centuries to create. Kael's eyes flicked nervously between the throne, the guards, and her, and then he muttered, I think my life just became a training simulation for awkward humans. Zenya's gaze locked on him, piercing, calculating, yet tinged with curiosity. Kael took a deep breath, silently promising his soul to any gods who might exist. Or failing that, promising he would write a very convincing apology letter if he died. You're human, she said softly, the faintest smirk tugging at her lips. Alive. And unusually bold. Kael's throat went dry. Yes. Human. Bold. Mostly survive on coffee and poor decisions, he quipped, regretting it immediately. The guards didn't laugh. Zenya almost did. Almost. A pulse of golden light brushed against his nervous system like a velvet hammer. Kael froze. Friendly light, he whispered, knowing it definitely was not friendly. You bring something, she continued, stepping down from the throne, robes cascading like liquid sunlight. Something I can feel. Kael reached into his satchel, producing a small, scorched fragment of alien alloy. We found this during the siege. It, talked. Said your name. Her head tilted. Golden eyes flickered, not anger, not fury, but curiosity, and perhaps a hint of disbelief. It spoke. Kael pressed the activation button. Static hissed, then a distorted whisper. Zenya, come home. The hall fell silent. Kael swallowed. Zenya's expression shifted, just for a heartbeat, a flicker of something Kael couldn't name, before returning to terrifying composure. 500 years, she whispered to herself. Then her gaze snapped to him, predatory yet unreadable. Who sent you? No one, Kael said evenly. I came because I thought you should hear it. The golden light trembled in the hall. Kael braced for a heartbeat of judgment, execution, or faint applause. Then speak, human, and pray your truth is worth your life. Kael took a deep breath, muttered a sarcastic, well, that escalated quickly, and stepped closer. Kael's boots echoed on the crystal floor, each step a reminder that one false move could get him vaporized, or worse, humiliated. Zenya's gaze didn't waver. If eyes could slice through steel, Kael's armor would already be molten. So, she began, her voice smooth, almost teasing, you came alone, unarmed, and think you can handle truths older than your species' entire history. Kael forced a grin. Well, technically, I brought a metal fragment that talks. So, that's something, right? Her lips curved into a faint smirk. It talks, yes. But can it lie? Kael shrugged. Depends on the day. Mondays are brutal. He regretted the joke instantly when a ripple of golden energy swept through the hall like a warning. Friendly Monday, he muttered under his breath. Zenya took a step closer, and the air seemed to thicken again, shimmering with latent power. Her golden eyes scanned him like a librarian reviewing overdue books, but books that could explode. Kael's stomach twisted. He reminded himself, breathe, stay calm, don't make jokes about gravity or you'll float out of the hall. So, she said, voice lowering, what exactly do you bring me? Answers? Confessions? Or another human who thinks diplomacy is charm and sarcasm? Kael held up the fragment. This little guy. He, speaks your name. Not kidding. Totally creeped me out the first time too. Zenya leaned forward slightly, the light in the hall bending subtly toward her. And you believed it? Kael swallowed. Belief is tricky. But I respect anyone, or anything, that's been around longer than my entire species. He added, muttering, and doesn't vaporize me instantly. For a heartbeat, the queen didn't speak. Then, unexpectedly, a small, almost musical laugh echoed through the hall. Not a full laugh, more like a ripple. Kael's tension eased a fraction. Progress, he whispered. Zenya studied him, long ears twitching in rhythm with the golden pulses in the hall. You humans, she said finally. You carry fear and audacity in equal measure. One moment trembling, next moment, thinking humor saves your life. Kael grinned. Hey, it's either humor or spontaneous combustion, really. I like to hedge my bets. She tilted her head, a subtle, calculating gesture. Curious. You are the first human to reach my halls without an entourage, without weapons, without the usual arrogance. And yet, you stumble over your words like a child walking on stilts. Kael laughed nervously. Well, stilts are hard. I've tried. Not recommended. Zenya's eyes gleamed. Perhaps honesty is rarer than courage. Or perhaps you simply amuse me. Kael's heart did a little leap. Amusement? That was better than vaporization. I aim to entertain, he said. Also, I tell bad jokes for a living. Side effect, humans find me intriguing. Sometimes. A ripple of energy pulsed in the hall again. Zenya's gaze softened, just slightly. Then show me this intrigue, human. Speak of your species. Not the speeches in the manuals. Not the diplomacy or battle tactics. Speak truthfully, and perhaps humorously. Kael leaned slightly closer, lowering his voice. We get ridiculously attached to inanimate objects, he said. My coffee machine. I apologize to it every morning if it's late. My chair. Named it Kael. Kael doesn't judge. Most days. Zenya's lips twitched, barely containing a laugh. You talk to furniture. Not just furniture, Kael said, encouraged. Hoverboards, toasters. I even argue with my shower sometimes. Persuasion is key. For the first time, Zenya laughed openly. Not a harsh laugh. Not a royal decree of doom. A soft, musical sound that echoed, bounced, and even made one of the floating drones wobble before self-correcting. Kael exhaled. I think I just won a small victory over alien intimidation. Zenya's gaze lingered on him, a mixture of amusement, curiosity, and what might have been respect. Perhaps humor is a human weapon, she said. Kael smirked. That and bad jokes. The golden light in the hall pulsed softly, almost approvingly. Somewhere in the vastness of the chamber of mirrors, reality seemed to lean in closer, eager to witness what might unfold next. The queen turned away, her robes flowing like liquid light as she moved toward a massive circular gate that looked carved from solid starlight. The air behind her shimmered. Kael followed, hesitant, but too curious to stop. The floor beneath his boots vibrated faintly, as if whispering a warning. Zenya didn't look back when she spoke. Humans talk about peace, she said, her tone measured, but your history reads like a collection of creative ways to destroy yourselves. Kael winced. We prefer to call that trial and error. Her long ears twitched. Trial, she repeated. You call planetary annihilation, trial. Kael scratched the back of his neck. Okay, that one's on us. But hey, we're improving. Haven't blown up anything major in, 3 decades? Zenya finally turned, one eyebrow raised. An admirable milestone. Thank you, Kael said, deadpan. We even gave ourselves a holiday for it. Still alive day. The queen's lips quirked. You mock your own history. Humor, Kael replied, is cheaper than therapy. That earned him another quiet laugh, short, but genuine. Then the floor beneath him split open without warning. Kael stumbled back, barely catching himself as a ring of hovering light expanded around him, encasing him like a transparent sphere. Whoa. Personal space bubble. Love it. Kael raised his hands, half grinning, half panicking. This isn't one of those disintegration things, right? Zenya folded her hands behind her back. It is a test. Kael groaned. Why does every alien test start with glowing circles and end with someone regretting life choices? This test, Zenya said, stepping closer, measures intent. Your body speaks more truth than your tongue ever could. The ring tightened slightly. Kael felt a pressure, like static crawling under his skin. His heart rate spiked. All right, full disclosure, I might fail this one. My body panics under stress. It thinks sarcasm is cardio. Zenya's eyes glowed faintly. Then stopped joking. Impossible, Kael muttered. Genetic flaw. The light flared brighter, scanning over him. Every heartbeat, every micro-expression projected into thin air as shimmering echoes. Kael's nervous grin wavered. What exactly happens if I, fail? Your atoms scatter across the ceiling, Zenya said calmly. Kael blinked. Okay, cool, casual threat. Totally fine. Definitely not terrified. The Queen studied him silently for several seconds. The tension in the hall thickened until even the air seemed to wait. Then, the light dimmed. The floor sealed shut again. Zenya's voice was low, thoughtful. You were afraid, yet you did not lie. Kael let out a long breath. Lying takes energy. I'm saving mine for the part where I try not to scream. Her expression softened, barely perceptible, but there. Your fear is honest. It's rare to meet a being who trembles and still stands his ground. Kael straightened his uniform. Yeah, well, trembling's free. Dying's not. For the first time, Zenya smiled. Not a smirk, not a diplomatic grin, a real smile. It hit Kael harder than any threat could. The hall's golden glow brightened around her, as if responding to that rare flicker of warmth. Perhaps, she said softly, humanity's survival is not due to strength, but absurd persistence. Kael chuckled. That's our motto. Persist until the universe gets tired of trying. Zenya tilted her head. And you persist even here. Kael gave a mock salute. I've embarrassed myself in front of more dangerous people. You're just higher on the list. Her laughter, unexpected, light, melodic, filled the hall again. And in that sound, Kael realized something. The alien queen wasn't testing his species. She was testing him. And he had just passed the first round by doing the one thing no one ever expected a human diplomat to do. Be stupidly, unapologetically himself. Zenya descended the dais with the slow, weightless grace of something that had never learned gravity's rules. Kael swore even the air moved aside for her. Each step she took made the floor ripple faintly like liquid glass. He stayed perfectly still, because his brain was currently holding a committee meeting between panic and fascination. She stopped a few feet away, close enough that he could see the faint shimmer of silver in her skin, the veins of light that pulsed beneath it like living circuitry. Her eyes, amber and emerald, locked onto him again, and Kael felt like a particularly clumsy lab rat that had wandered into an art museum. You are uncomfortable, she said. Not a question. A diagnosis. Kael forced a crooked smile. Just a mild case of standing in front of someone who could vaporize me with a frown. Happens all the time. Zenya tilted her head slightly. You hide your fear behind humor. He shrugged. Well, it's either that or crying. And I've been told that doesn't look very professional on diplomatic reports. Her lips twitched. You are unusual. Kael nodded. That's the nicest way anyone's ever called me a disaster. The Queen stepped closer. The air around her shimmered faintly, brushing against Kael's skin like static electricity. He could smell something faintly metallic, clean, alien, but weirdly calming. Her gaze roamed over his uniform, the insignia on his shoulder, the faint tremor in his hand that he was absolutely pretending didn't exist. You do not lie easily, she said quietly. Yet your body resists control. Kael exhaled through his nose. That's humanity in a nutshell, Your Majesty. Honest thoughts, terrible posture. That earned him another quiet laugh, a short, melodic sound that somehow felt like approval. Then, without warning, she reached out and touched the sleeve of his jacket. Kael froze. His brain short-circuited. Alien Queen just touched me. I am now officially a science exhibit. She traced the edge of the fabric curiously. So, this is what humans use for armor. Kael blinked. Technically, it's called military casual. Stops mild rain and social awkwardness. Her eyes flickered with amusement. And yet you wear it as if it were sacred. Well, it's less about fashion, he said, voice softening. More about where it came from. Zenya's expression shifted, subtle, but attentive. From your world. Kael nodded. From someone who told me I'd probably die on this mission. And you came anyway. Yeah. He swallowed. Guess I wanted to prove her wrong. For a moment, neither spoke. The glow of the hall dimmed slightly, as if the entire structure leaned closer to listen. Then Zenya released his sleeve, her touch leaving a strange warmth behind. "You humans," she said, almost to herself. "Fragile, arrogant, yet unreasonably brave." Kael chuckled. "We call it stupidity. Makes it sound humble." Her eyes softened. "No, it is something else." The silence that followed wasn't awkward, it was electric. Kael felt it like a current under his skin, that unspoken awareness that this was no longer just diplomacy. Something was shifting, curiosity turning into recognition, tension into something dangerously close to connection. Finally, Zenya turned, her tone formal again. "Follow me. The next chamber will decide if your words have meaning." Kael raised an eyebrow. "Oh good. Another glowing death trap. My favorite kind of Tuesday." She didn't answer, but he caught the faintest hint of a smile before she walked ahead. Kael followed, still trembling, still cracking jokes, and yet, somewhere deep inside, a spark had ignited. The kind of spark that no treaty could define. The kind that could change everything. The corridor that followed looked nothing like the crystalline throne hall. It was darker, colder, alive in a different way. Strange veins of light pulsed through the floor and walls, like the arteries of some ancient being still dreaming beneath the surface. The sound of Kael's boots echoed too loudly, as if the room wanted to remind him that he didn't belong here. Zenya walked ahead without looking back, her robes trailing faint gold sparks. Kael, meanwhile, was trying very hard not to stare at the walls that seemed to breathe. "So," he said finally, his voice bouncing off the strange metallic air, "is this where you take visitors to, discuss peace treaties? Or just vaporize them quietly?" "Depends on how the conversation goes," she said without turning. Kael nodded solemnly. "Fantastic. Love an honest answer before probable death." Zenya stopped. "Do all humans speak as though they are narrating their own executions?" "Only the brave ones," he said. "Or the stupid ones. Jury's still out on which one I am." That earned him another subtle smirk, the kind she clearly tried not to let him see. When they reached the end of the corridor, the walls expanded, opening into a circular chamber. The floor was transparent, revealing what looked like an ocean of glowing energy below, gold, blue, and white, swirling like galaxies fighting for dominance. At the center stood an elevated platform made of interlocking rings, rotating slowly in mid-air. Zenya gestured toward it. "Step inside." Kael hesitated. "Sure, because the floating alien death carousel looks very OSHA compliant." Her tone sharpened. "Do you mock every culture you encounter, or only the ones that can disintegrate you?" Kael raised his hands. "It's a coping mechanism. Helps me not scream." Zenya's eyes narrowed, but there was a flicker of intrigue. "Then scream when you must. But do not lie." He stepped onto the platform. The rings adjusted, locking into place beneath his feet. Instantly, a pulse of energy surged through him, cold first, then hot, then something that wasn't either. His memories flashed like broken film reels, faces, explosions, stars burning. Zenya placed her hand against a panel that rose from the floor. "This chamber records truth," she said quietly. "Your mind, your memories, your intent, all will be revealed. If you deceive me, it will consume you." Kael forced a grin. "No pressure then." The platform flared. His breath hitched. Images bloomed in the air around him, his squad in the trenches, the fire, the screams, the girl who gave him that jacket and said don't die doing something stupid. Zenya's gaze softened just slightly. That was affection. Kael laughed bitterly. That was her being realistic. She tilted her head. "And yet you survived." "Barely." He took a breath. "But I didn't come here to survive. I came to ask why your people attacked ours. The war was over. The treaty was signed." Zenya's hand lowered slowly from the panel. The chamber dimmed, its golden veins pulsing slower now. "Because truth," she said, "was never part of your treaty." Kael frowned. "Meaning?" Zenya stepped closer, her expression unreadable. "You humans offered peace while building fleets behind your moons. We watched. We waited. And when your ships crossed into our system, again, we answered." Kael's pulse spiked. "That's not possible. Our command lied to you," she said, "just as they lied to your allies." The silence that followed hit harder than any weapon. Kael's jaw tightened. "You're saying, my entire mission, this truce, was based on false orders?" Zenya didn't answer. Instead, she reached out and touched the field of energy surrounding him. The holographic memories shattered into golden shards that drifted like dust. You came here for truth, she said quietly. Now you have it. Kael's voice dropped. And what do you want from me? To see what kind of man keeps fighting when the lies fall away. Kael stared at her, the glow of the chamber reflecting in his eyes. Guess we're both about to find out. The chamber went silent again, alive with tension, disbelief, and something far more dangerous than war, understanding. And somewhere deep beneath the surface, the glowing ocean pulsed faster, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Kael woke up to the smell of something cooking. Not food exactly, but whatever it was had the nerve to smell delicious. His head was still buzzing from the chamber's truth scan, and the hard alien floor hadn't exactly been chiropractor-approved. He sat up groaning. If this is heaven, the decor's disappointing. Good. You're awake, came Zenya's voice. She was sitting cross-legged on a levitating slab of crystal, calmly stirring a glowing bowl with a utensil that looked far too elegant to be used for food. Kael blinked. Please tell me that's not my brain soup. She didn't look up. It is breakfast. He frowned. For who? For both of us. Kael stared at the swirling blue liquid. Right. Because sharing mystery alien porridge is exactly how humans die in cautionary tales. Zenya tilted her head. You doubt my hospitality. No, I just have a strict personal policy about not drinking anything that glows brighter than my future. That actually earned a laugh. Small, sharp, but real. You just even after discovering your people deceived you. How very human. Kael rubbed his neck. Yeah, well, if I stop joking I'll start screaming. You wouldn't like that. Zenya handed him a small bowl. Eat. You'll need strength for what comes next. He took it reluctantly, sniffed, then cautiously sipped. The taste hit him like an identity crisis, part honey, part metal, part mint, part definitely not from Earth. Okay, he said, blinking. Not bad. Little radioactive, but not bad. Zenya smirked. It enhances perception. You'll see more clearly now. Great. Because that's what I need. Clearer visions of how doomed I am. Her expression softened slightly. You are not doomed, Kael. You are inconvenient. Thanks, he said flatly. Always wanted to be someone's cosmic paper cut. Zenya set her bowl down. You think I enjoy this war? That I wanted to see my people burn entire systems because of human arrogance? Kael leaned back. I think you're doing what every leader does when they don't want to look weak. Pretend it's about honor while the body count piles up. The air between them went tense. For a second, Kael thought he'd crossed the line, but then she chuckled lowly. You are remarkably consistent in your insolence. He shrugged. Consistency is underrated. A pause stretched, long, quiet, almost too still. Then Zenya said, You asked yesterday why I kept you alive. Do you still wish to know? Kael met her gaze. I'm guessing it's not my charming personality. Her tone shifted, quieter, but sharper. Because you hesitated. He frowned. What? When your ship fell, you could have fired your last missile. You didn't. You chose not to kill my fleet's wounded. I saw the footage myself. Kael looked away. Didn't seem like victory was worth the guilt. That, Zenya said, leaning closer, is why I need you. Kael blinked. Need me? For what? Moral support. Therapy sessions. For truth, she said simply. If my own counsel is lying to me as yours lied to you, I want someone who can recognize deception when it smiles. Kael laughed bitterly. You really trust a species you call savages? Zenya's eyes met his. No. I trust you. And that terrifies me. Silence again, but this time, it wasn't hostile. It was heavy with something else. Recognition. Kael smirked. If it helps, I'm not great with trust either. Especially before coffee. Then we will start with breakfast, Zenya said, sliding him another bowl. And see if we can survive that first. He lifted the bowl. To questionable life choices. She raised hers. To inconvenient humans. They drank. The silence that followed was strangely warm. And somewhere outside, far beyond the chamber walls, the Empire's senses detected something approaching, a human signal, armed and closing fast. The alarms started howling through the palace like angry gods had finally remembered they'd left the stove on. Kael froze mid-bite, half a spoon of glowing porridge hanging comically in front of his mouth. Zenya's expression snapped from calm to lethal in a heartbeat. What did you do? She hissed. Kael blinked. Ate breakfast? Unless your soup has a distress beacon in it, I'm innocent. Zenya stood, her armor forming around her like liquid light. A human dropship breached orbit. Armed. Reckless. Kael groaned. Fantastic. My people finally show up and pick the exact wrong time to play hero. The chamber doors exploded open. Her guards swarmed in, their weapons raised. One backed. Your Majesty, the humans demand surrender of the palace. Zenya's jaw tightened. They have courage, I'll grant them that. She turned to Kael, eyes like sharpened ice. Did you summon them? Do I look like I have interstellar Wi-Fi? He shot back. Last time I checked, your people fried my comms. Her eyes flickered between suspicion and calculation. If they think you're being held hostage. Kael finished her sentence. They'll turn this whole city into barbecue. Outside, the sound of engines thundered closer, distant explosions, plasma fire lighting up the clouds. Zenya motioned to her guards. Bring the human to the lower bunker. Kael raised his hands. Whoa, hold on. If your people see me dragged off again, they'll think you're torturing me. Zenya shot back coldly. You are a prisoner. He grinned. Technically, I'm your breakfast guest. Which, weirdly, might make me safer. That earned him the tiniest twitch at the corner of her lips, gone a second later. You mock everything, even war. Yeah, Kael said, glancing at the burning skyline. Because if I take it seriously, I'll lose my mind. They moved through the corridors, Zenya in front, Kael flanked by guards. The palace shook as another blast hit nearby. Crystals fell from the ceiling. Zenya's voice was calm but tense. Your people are killing my soldiers. Kael backed a dark laugh. And yours are probably returning the favor. Great diplomacy all around. A holographic screen blinked to life beside them, an incoming transmission. The face of a human commander appeared, rough-bearded and furious. Kael, you alive? We're pulling you out. Sit tight. Kael sighed. Yeah, because that's totally how this works. Zenya's gaze snapped to the screen. Human commander. Withdraw your fleet immediately. The man squinted. Who the hell are you? Kael muttered under his breath. Oh boy, this'll go well. Zenya lifted her chin. Queen Zenya of the Lure Dominion. Your man is under my protection. Stand down. The commander snorted. Protection? Lady, you burned 3 of our colonies. Kael groaned. Here we go. Zenya took a step closer to the projection, her tone low and sharp. Your weapon signatures entered my airspace without clearance. That is an act of war. Lady, we've been at war, the commander barked. Kael stepped forward. Okay, time out. Everyone stop pretending this is helping. Zenya, your people think I'm a spy. Commander, your people think she's Satan in gold armor. Maybe, and I'm just spitballing here. We don't blow each other up while I'm still inside the blast radius. Zenya glanced sideways at him. You speak as if you can command both armies. He shrugged. No, but I can annoy both enough to make them listen. The commander frowned. Kael, are you compromised? Kael sighed. If compromised means being less of an idiot than both sides, yeah. Zenya actually smirked. Then we agree on something. Before either side could say more, the palace shook violently. The feed cut. The windows flared white. A missile had hit nearby. Kael stumbled, coughing through dust. Guess that's their version of diplomacy. Zenya's guards scrambled, shouting orders. She turned to Kael, eyes blazing. Your people will destroy everything. He met her gaze, serious now. Then stop treating me like a hostage. If you want this to end, let me talk to them. You'd betray me that easily, she snapped. Kael stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat of his breath. If I wanted you dead, I'd have let them fire already. I'm trying to keep both of us alive. Her glare held for a long, dangerous moment. Then she said quietly, if you fail, human, I will end you myself. Kael smirked. Fair trade. Just let me earn breakfast round 2 first. Outside, the human fleet was descending through the clouds, weapons locked on the alien capital. Inside the palace, a human and an alien queen stood side by side, staring at each other like enemies who'd somehow run out of reasons to fight. And far above, the first dropships broke through the sky. The world outside had turned into a storm of light. Human dropships burned through the clouds while alien anti-air cannons spat golden plasma into the heavens. The sky was chaos. The ground was trembling. The palace, the city, everything around Kael felt like it was about to snap in half. And right in the center of it all stood Queen Zenya, flawless, furious, and, for the first time since he met her, afraid. Your people have surrounded the palace, she said, voice sharp enough to cut through the thunder. They are demanding your release. Kael exhaled. Great. My rescue team's idea of subtlety is nuking the royal courtyard. Her eyes glowed, shifting between rage and disbelief. You brought this war to my doorstep. He shot back instantly. No, you started the damn war. I'm just the idiot who walked in to stop it. One of her guards approached, breathless. Your Majesty, the humans are deploying mechs. The east wall won't hold. Zenya's jaw locked. She raised her hand, summoning her weapon, a gleaming spear that pulsed with golden veins. Then we fight. Kael stepped forward. Zenya, listen to me. If you fight now, thousands will die, for nothing. Her tone dripped venom. You think I'll surrender to your kind? I'm not asking you to surrender, he said, voice low but fierce. I'm asking you to survive. The hall shook again. Part of the ceiling collapsed in a rain of dust and fire. Kael instinctively grabbed her, pulling her out of the way as debris smashed down where she'd been standing. For a second, her armor flickered, energy fields destabilizing. She looked up at him, close enough that he could see the faint shimmer of fear in her golden eyes. Let go, she whispered. He didn't. Not while everything's falling apart around you. She tore her arm free, but the way she looked at him now wasn't hatred, it was confusion. Maybe something worse. Something dangerously close to trust. Her comms flared to life again. Queen Zenya, came a voice from the command deck. We've detected a signal inside the palace, broadcasting human encryption codes. Zenya turned slowly toward Kael. You. Kael froze. Wait, what? No, that's not me. But her expression said she didn't believe him. The guards raised their weapons. Kael raised his hands. Listen, if I was signaling them, you'd already be dead. Think logically for 1 second. A massive blast cut him off. The eastern wall exploded inward. Flames, smoke, and the screech of metal filled the air as a human mech crashed through the wreckage, towering over everyone. Kael's jaw dropped. Oh for F, come on. This is the rescue. Zenya's eyes flared, the golden glow now blinding. They've breached the sanctum. Her guards opened fire. Plasma bolts tore through the air, ricocheting off the mecha's armor. The giant machine pivoted, cannons charging, targeting the queen's throne. Without thinking, Kael sprinted forward. Kael, she shouted. He ignored her, leaping toward the control panel near the throne. The mecha's targeting laser locked onto him. Zenya moved, instinct, speed, fury. Her spear flew like lightning, striking the mecha's sensor core dead center. The explosion rocked the hall. When the smoke cleared, the mech was down, but so was Kael. Zenya stumbled toward him, heart pounding. You reckless fool, she muttered, kneeling beside him. His armor was scorched, his face half covered in ash, but he was breathing. Barely. She reached out, fingers trembling. Why? His lips curved into a faint smile. Told you. I wasn't here to fight you. Her breath caught. Around them, her guards waited, unsure if they should help or kill. The human fleet above was descending lower now. The palace shook with every blast. Zenya looked up, eyes narrowing with cold resolve. Evacuate the civilians, she ordered her guards. But your Majesty. Do it, she snapped. Then she looked down at Kael again. You came to end this war. Fine. Let's end it together. Kael coughed, weak but smiling. Didn't think you'd ever say that. I didn't either, she whispered. Outside, the sky turned blood red as both sides prepared for one final strike. Zenya stood, lifting her spear toward the heavens, her voice cutting through the storm. This ends now. Kael forced himself up, standing beside her, human and alien, side by side, as the light from the approaching ships filled the ruined hall. And just as the first beam of destruction fell from orbit, a second light, blinding, ancient, and impossibly powerful, erupted from the artifact Kael had brought days ago. Time itself seemed to freeze. Every sound vanished. Every explosion halted mid-air. Zenya turned to him slowly. What did you do? Kael stared at the artifact, glowing brighter than the suns above. I think, someone just answered your name again. A voice echoed across the frozen battlefield. Not human, not alien, but something older. Something both recognized. Zenya, bring him home. Then everything went white.